opportunity to explore something about our humanity, the being in being human. For me, what came up in wanting to bring this subject forward as a topic that I feel is very relevant to relate around is the busyness that we're all exposed to, and the amount of noise and the amount of distraction and the amount of information that we are bombarded with. It is so easily taking our focus and attention away from the inner world that is alive in us always. And this is more that indigenous landscape, that indigeneity of our soul that is here on the earth as part of the greater totality. And we are each individually on a journey, on a hero's journey, in which we get opportunities to grow and expand through the process of radical change and the universe upending us, and really the archetypal nature of this human world that we get to navigate. The consciousness provides us the opportunities to radically sometimes reflect on what our values are, and what our purpose is. And is it what it is that I'm doing really in alignment with what it is that my spirit, that my inner world is saying a full yes to? And I have for myself delved into all of this in so many different ways to really cultivate and bring forth and forward, outward more, this inner world's experience and the journey that I get to have as a human being, and being more present with that. And one of the things that I feel has been really beneficial in cultivating a sense of reverence for the gift of life, for the gift of being here, for the gift of being able to explore reality and come here to Earth, Terra, Gaia, to be here and to take the lens out and zoom out way above this beautiful Earth terrain and see that we are each all navigating. And we can see that we're all like little ants in this busy form of some kind of a matrix that is involving transportation and electrical communication and going off to the supermarket and all that practical stuff that comes with, quote unquote, being human in the year 2022. And yet there is a reality that seems to be not prevalent or spoken to, an experiential field of journeying consciously on this earth through our life and making use of the function of the opportunities for our growth and our radical self-reflection that we get. And we've often spoken about the programming that has kind of disconnected us from this inner sanctuary, this world of being, this frequency that we call the frequency of the new earth. And for me, exploring the real gift that is seemingly hidden from us because our westernized and modernized and capitalized societal framework isn't putting relevance or significance onto the more subtle and the more spiritual reality that we actually get to navigate. And in that, I see that our gift as human beings is that we are able to become master navigators of the journey beyond just getting stuff done and beyond making sure that we have enough digits in the bank account to keep our livelihood in place and the stability with that in place. And that's what I feel today is a beautiful opportunity to relate around. And I want to hand it back to you and open it up to Shay as well to talk around this inner world, this world beyond what we are bombarded with or what shows up in our physical reality and our visual perception, that there is so much more that actually wants to be seen and heard and known and felt and danced with and played with and navigated with, that is not being taught. It's not being shown how to do that. And I feel it's a subject dear to my heart, because I have become who I have been because I have journeyed so much in the internal landscape, in the archetypal world that is full of messages and full of symbolism and full of communication and communion with a world that we have not been taught or raised with, is all around us all the time. There seems to be a belief out there in the world that because of the conditioning that the Western mind has been cultured into, that we're at the receiving, as humans, we're at the receiving end of life happening to us. And through the study of syntropy and the study of nature, and really getting into ecosophy, the spiritual, philosophical journeying through the mystical, quote unquote, spiritual, but really the natural world, and eliciting out of that and discovering out of that the strategies of life, the patterns of the universe that aren't just patterns in nature that repeat themselves because the leaves kind of follow this beautiful spiraling dynamic. That is one component or one strategy of life by which we can observe what life is doing. But there is so much more embedded and intrinsic in the life strategies. And what I have really come to appreciate is studying nature allowed me to see the intimate relationship of life with death, and that without death, life actually can't exist currently. There may be a fantasy for some of us that we would love to be immortal. And in a sense, on a deeper level, we are, because we are spirit essence, and our soulful spark, once we leave this physicality, continues onward. And yet in that process of dancing with death, both in the physical and in the spiritual, I've had my encounters where I was meeting that threshold within my cells, where I wasn't sure if I was kind of come out on the other end, and coming to peace and coming to acceptance of that process instead of resisting it through the mind and all the stories, has allowed me to become a conscious dancer and a conscious navigator with the process of change, which is what death really is. Because the only ever constant in life is change. And what changes in life is through succession. We see different species emerging in agroforestry systems, but we see in our own inner agroforestry journey, we see our inner landscape, we see this opportunity arise of like, oh, I lost my job. And all of a sudden there is a cleaner canvas, and that can feel daunting because it's change. And the relationship with death of an old identity, of an old story, of old stability may feel uncomfortable. But when we train ourselves and willfully show up to be with the feelings, to allow them to arise, and to discover the gift in that, the gift in the rawness, the gift in the confrontation, that we get then an opportunity to see that there's actually more that becomes available through that process that we otherwise would not have pursued. And so this idea of life happening to me, and therefore me being in the victim role, and me sitting in a place of I don't necessarily have an impact on the world around me, we've really construed as a Western mentality a lot of the concepts. And on a spiritual fantasy level, if I may say, we have this concept that we are able to manifest, and we can use our intentions. And I have found that I used to practice that kind of from here, and then I try to do it also from here and really feel it. But there is more to that story. There is more to the dreaming into being, the world that we have available to us to experience, because all the miracles and all the magic and all the mystery and all that lies beyond the noise of the 3D and the programs of the having to and the needing to. Beyond that space that is so much involving mental clutter, there is a world that has the ability to open up to us if we are willing to enter into that dimensional reality, enter into that expansive worldview, and it really takes a different lens to approach that. And I've really come to appreciate how all of life, through this study of syntropy and the ecosophy that I have just relished in, is that life is fully happening for me. And when I have that awareness, and when I am in that presence of knowing that this is happening for me, because everything in life performs a function with purpose, I feel that I'm reacting. I feel that I'm being stirred by this change that is meeting me, that I am unsure of how I'm going to navigate it. And yet I have this very confident inner standing that this is happening for me. And with that, so much of the mental coping and the activity that I would normally jump straight into, and how to keep myself safe, or how to still make sure that this, that, and the other, that is being able to become surrendered. And in that lies a beautiful form of communion, a form of communion with more of me, more of what life and what really the spirited nature of my essence, what it has come here on the earth to give expression to. And that relates directly back to the gift and the talent intrinsic in each individual species of plants. And for us as humans, it's even more unique that we're not only like a mango tree, but we're a mango tree with very distinct colors that are unique only to us. We have a unique voice only to us. We have a unique gift. We have a unique pursuit of what we came here to explore on the earth as the navigators of this earth terrain that we are. And having that sense of like, life is happening for me, is given me a deep appreciation of, therefore, also the gift of being this human being that can receive that as opposed to resist that, that can embrace it even if it's uncomfortable, because I've come to comprehend that it's performing a function with purpose. And that allows me to navigate the waves and the stirrings with more grace, because I have more comprehension as to what's actually really going on. In the past, it was my mind that said, oh, this is what's happening. That's not good. This is not right. Judgment, judgment, label, label, label. And now it's much more a space where I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel comfortable, or holy, this is, and yet there is that awareness, there's that inner voice, that there's that inner knowing that has already come to remember, both intellectually and from past lived experience, this is likely a gift. I can't see it yet. I don't understand it with my little froopy mind that is trying to render it into some sort of a box. But my inner being knows I'm being offered a gift of change, which usually leads to adventure and transformation and new experience, and therefore new expansion. And what I have found is that unconsciously I call in all of those opportunities for transformation and growth and the radical slap in the face moments, so that the innate gift of my spirited nature and the spirit that came here to give expression to its uniqueness actually has an opportunity to make its way forward through my being just another step more. And that's the beauty that I find of the journey, that's an ever ongoing process of giving more expression to what is really coming from within, that wants to become expressed, that wants to show me, that wants to take me to directional fields that if I was to stay in the comfort of my job, I am in a box and I am not on adventure and I am not on exploration and I'm not navigating new terrain. And this to me is a wonderful gift of being a human being and having the recognition that life is happening for me.